Hello everyone, that manga kid here to give my first impressions on the first three volumes of Children of the Whales, and this is by Abi Umeda. This is a Viz Signature series, not one with the French flaps or anything. It's just it's like Tokyo Ghoul quality. I bought these well over a year ago. I bought this first volume when it actually first was released. Second volume and third volume I think I also bought as they were released, but this is as much of the series that I own, and as of yesterday, read volume 3. So, yeah, took me a while to get through these. I am not a fantasy person. I don't really like fantasy stories, not really interested in them at all. This was completely a cover buy for me. I thought that the cover was absolutely beautiful. You can see the embossed kind of stuff going on there. I believe I also did read a preview of this. I think Viz had one up on their website originally. Usually they do for their newer series. And I read the first little bit and figured it was good enough that I wanted to try it out. And then I don't remember why I bought volume 2 and 3 because I feel like I hadn't really read this one yet. But anyway, the series is okay. I enjoy it, but again, I'm not a fantasy person, so I can't find myself really getting into it. Every time I pick a volume up, I enjoy it, but I don't put it down thinking, I need the next volume. I need to know what happens next. And so I will probably continue to read this and collect it, but personally, I find it really, like, it's just not my thing, and therefore, when I finished yesterday, when I finished volume 3, I wasn't like, wow, we're in the middle of a war and I need to know what happens next. It wasn't like that at all. It was like, okay, well, I guess it's probably going to be a while till I read the next one. Between reading volume 2 and 3 was over a year, because I read this one in May of last year based on my notes of what I've read, because I keep track of that kind of stuff. And I read this one yesterday. So it's been over a year. And it didn't bother me that it's been over a year, and I was able to pick this one up, remember what happened in these 2 volumes, and just continue with it without going, why didn't I pick this up sooner? But, that being said, the art is really, really nice. Busy, fantastical, really beautiful character designs. It's really, really, really nice. And the story is fascinating. It's about this kid, Chakuro, who's like 13 or 14 years old or something. And they live on this thing called the Mud Whale. And the Mud Whale is this little floating island in a sea of sand. And they can't leave the Mud Whale. And there are certain people that live on this Mud Whale who, like Chakuro, have this thing called, is it Tama or Taima or something? I don't know how to pronounce it. And it's a special power. But these people who can use Taima or have it or whatever it is, they die usually around 30 years old. They die really young. There are regular humans on the Mud Whale who obviously live regular human lives, but Chakuro is a bit of a troublemaking kid. He doesn't really know how to control his Tama or Taima, and so he's a bit of a outcast in some ways, but he's got his friends, he's got his buddies, and there's an undertone of like a religious kind of thing to this because of the belief system on the Mud Whale, and it's a way of survival because they've never encountered, like, this Mud Whale's their entire life. They've never encountered anything else. They can't leave it. They have to stay on it. There's nowhere else to go. And they don't really know why they exist, what the point of their existence is, what's the point of anything, really. And there's some people, like this kid here who's like 16 or something, who's really challenging that existence and being like, well, why are we stuck here? What did we do? Where did we come from? And so basically they run into another island, I think, right at the beginning, and the point is that he meets this girl here whose name I've forgotten already. And so Chakuro is mind blown. They've never met another person ever who wasn't from the Mud Whale. and they get very quickly into this war between her people and the people of the mud whale, and they're all trying to figure out why. What did we do? But there's elders and their like government system on the mud whale who seem to know a bit more about what's going on, but have kept it kind of under wraps. Um, and so it's kind of a whole unraveling story of their existence and what the point of it is, and that there's a whole world out there that they've never known or been able to know or explore. And yeah, it's a full on fantasy war exploration thing, and it's quite good. It's just not my cup of tea. There's quite a few volumes out at this point. I think there's probably over 10 by now, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, it's if you like fantasy stories, this is definitely one to check out. Like I said, the art is really, really gorgeous. The fantasy, or sorry, the like nature scenes and whatnot are quite nice. And it is like a fantasy war sort of story about their existence and the point of all this. So it's a bit of mystery mixed in with that. Anyway, if you've read this, let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.